Again, crossing the Panama Canal. So we have now arrived at our final destination. I'm in a hotel room, as you see. It's called the Llorona Lodge near the city of Colón on the Caribbean coast of Panama. And things are going well. Wonderful meal, all that stuff. Got my first dragonfly at a light. But I just wanted to show you the wildlife abounds here. We even have our first critter. Going the wrong way. Having dinner, and I noticed there's a little baby, not a baby bat, a small bat.
Let's let him go.
Oh, of course.
Isn't that a rather abnormal behavior?
Nah, it's nighttime. The question was, are we worried about his...
If you have an animal that behaves abnormally, perhaps you should...
No, he's fine. He's twitching and looking at me. He's just confused by the lights. So now I kind of carefully scooped him up on this dinner napkin. I just kind of coaxed him with the butterfly net. He just climbed right on. He's a cute little guy. He's just absolutely sweet. I wish you could get a little more light on him so you could see him. Here we go. He's just a tiny little guy. See a little bit of his little nose there. Just doesn't know what to do. So I'm going to send him outside. Yeah. Absolutely. I'll put him someplace and he'll probably bound away as soon as he's in the dark. Here you go, pal. Come on. Come on. There we go. Got the night vision on, you can really see him. Come on, guy. Go on. Go on. There he goes. Oh, off he goes. What we have here is a poison arrow frog. These are all around Central America, and Panama has many of them. One of the workers here, Jorge, found this one. And it's the first time I've ever seen one in the wild like that. Where is he? There he is. A little bigger than I thought they were. They're a little bit more, about 1.5 inches. Poison dart frog. First time I see one. This here is what is possibly the world's largest damselfly. I could bore you with the scientific name. It's called Megaloprepus, but look how cool it is. There's big black and white wings, tips, and if I can get the camera to focus, there we go. Look at the nice color on her. This is a female. Nick just caught this down a trail. And boy, they're really cool big damselflies. When they're flying, they just look like, I don't know, they look like a spaceship. They look like a helicopter whirling around. They're really surprisingly hard to catch. They fly very slowly and they fake you out. And before you know it, you've swung 2 or 3 times and you just watch it sailing up into the canopy. So I'm now on the Caribbean coast. This is Puerto de Santiago. This is one of the old Spanish forts from the ancient days of privateers and pirates and all that. The Spanish were getting gold and silver from the Incas and the Mayas and the Aztecs and all this stuff. They were bringing it to places like this where they had counting houses, where officials would count up the value of the plunder so that the king could keep good records. He didn't want his privateers pocketing it for themselves. And they needed these forts to protect all this plunder. And the British privateer Francis Drake came in and raided these places again and again. The British came in and did it a bunch of times, but you can see from behind me all the cannons. They're pretty serious about it. And between the French, the Spanish, and the British, this stuff went back and forth and back and forth. But it's really interesting to be in a place where this stuff was all playing out right here behind me.
Oh, this is gorgeous, isn't it?
It is absolutely beautiful. Ailsa and I talked John Hepner into driving us out to the town of Portobelo in the hopes of seeing, I don't know, something that we might not see if we just stay behind at Sierra Llorona Lodge. Nick has found something to pique his interest there, and it's a beautiful place, but if Nick is on the job, he's going to have that covered. So Ailsa and I said, let's go east and maybe see a little bit of stuff like this, and we'll scope out some other streams and see what gives. But I'm awfully glad to be here just for this. Everything after this is cream. These Spanish forts are really intriguing to me because there's such a clear sign of the instability of, you know, every civilization thinks they're here for keeps. The Spanish built dozens of forts like these around the Caribbean. They meant to stay. And nothing's permanent, least of all civilizations. And in these changing times we live in, you know, Americans are really feeling the pinch of maybe not being the most significant player on the international scene. But you know, when I was in Sicily looking at the Roman ruins and the Greek ruins and the Middle Ages ruins, and you just have to realize nothing's forever. And the sooner you adjust to that fact and make peace with it, probably the happier you'll be. Continuing on, Ailsa and I are checking stream after stream. That's one of the things we do. When you go to these places nobody's collected, you drive around in promising country, and every time you see a good stream, if you're a dragonfly guy, you go, ooh, good stream. Let's stop there and see what we can find. This particular stream almost has nothing on it, except I was walking under this bridge. And what do I see? Lovely bat colony up there. And the bats, I should be able to identify when I get back to the place. They all have little white speckles on their black backs. See him? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 bats living under the bridge. Bridges like this are important habitats for bat roosts in a lot of places, even in the United States. So we have had a really good collecting day in the lowlands of Caribbean Panama today. We really kind of had to talk people into doing it. Ailsa and I kind of wanted to see historic Portobelo, and we figured we'd see some nice streams if we could get out here. And actually, we've gotten a lot of bugs. 20 or 30 or 40 specimens. Several species we're sure we haven't seen before. And with a little luck, meanwhile, Nick has stayed up in the mountain back at the lodge. And if he's had a good day, he's probably got a lot of good work in too. So we really divided up our time. Being as tomorrow's our last day to collect in Panama, we split up our time and it worked out great. And I was really hoping it would work out great because this is the way I like to roll when I do this stuff. You know, get out there, see what's there. You can't get everything, so do the best you can and then beat it, do something else. And I think it's worked out great today. What have we got, Ailsa?
Isn't that an incredible noise?
And he's so unself-conscious about us being there. And there's another one calling
There's
from the
another
forest.
one answering him from somewhere down in the valley.
That was cool.
We were sitting out in the veranda hearing it, and it was actually getting on our nerves. We said we gotta go figure out what it is, but it turns out to be something great. Which only goes to show.
See, if that was one of my kids, I'd say, knock it off.
Exactamente. By the way, for you viewers at home, this is why you don't own toucans.
Yes.
So today I'm collecting in the company of a local guide named Jorge. He doesn't speak any English and I barely speak Spanish, but we're making ourselves understood. He's taken me down to this river on the lodge property, and it's early. It's only 9:30 in the morning. But if we get a nice sunny day, this is the kind of real jungle river where you could find some interesting stuff. It's hard to explain to somebody that doesn't study dragonflies, but the ponds and rivers where the farms are usually have species that live in many parts of the region, but these streams will have very particular specialist species. And yesterday Nick was down here with Jorge and saw a couple of things that kind of got away, and so he's doing something else today, and I'll be down here, and we'll see if between us we can't figure out what gives down here. Let's see. Ah.
Ya no hay. Es muy difícil.
Sí. Jorge sort of disappeared for a while. He dropped me off around 9:15, and then I didn't see him till, it's just 10 after 10, but he came back and he had found these two frogs in a mating embrace. This is called amplexus, and I didn't notice at first, but they have bright yellow eyes. Focus won't do that. There we go. Bright yellow eyes. The toes are yellow on the tips of the toes, and you can barely see, but underneath they have orange bellies. And the male will not let go of this female. This is not a sexual act. He is preparing for the moment when she lays her eggs, and he's unwilling to let go of her. So this is not mating as such. He is hanging on. When she lays her eggs, he will be right there to fertilize those eggs. And even though Jorge has had these frogs in his hand for I don't know how long, that male will not let go. Whoa, that's nice. Yes, bright orange in there. He's still holding her boy. Novio. That's really nice. Jorge spotted it right here. Un caballito con ojos rojos. Esta una species nueva. New species. Elsa caught one last year. We believe this is the third specimen known. It's going to be named after Elsa, Argia Elsa, and this is a highly desired bug. Nick kind of sent me on duty to get this today, and we got it. ¿Qué es este en español?
Cascada.
Cascada.
No, en español nosotros chorro.
Chorro.
Chorro de agua.
Ah, chorro de agua. Ajá. Here's a classic tale of discovery. I'd spent the morning being guided down the trails by Jorge, and we found a lot of good stuff. Small amount of very good stuff. Got back to the main house at about noon. Got a shower, put on some clean, dry clothes, had lunch. The weather stayed nice, and I was spending a half hour saying, should I go back on the trail? Should I go back on the trail? Because, you're going to be breaking a sweat, messing up your clothes. We're leaving tomorrow. Today's our last day here. I was really hemming and hawing. I don't think I want to go back out. And I finally said, okay, the weather's good. It's my duty. I'll go out there. Came down this trail here. Nick is waiting. What'd you get, Nick? Nothing. Nothing all day? Nothing all day. So I wandered down the trail a little bit. Bango. New species. It was like the first thing I saw down the trail. A little black damselfly. I thought it was something else. I swung, caught it, I lifted it out. It has a bright white face. And Nick said, what'd you get? I said, I have never seen this before. You know, I don't know as much about dragonflies as Nick does, but this little black dragonfly with the white face, and I said, something new. And it's probably a new species of Palamnema. And that's classic entomology. You know, you think you're not going to find something, just get out there and do the work. You can never plan on finding something new, but we may have discovered several new species on this trip, and it'll be interesting to find out when we get back to the States how we really did. But that was a cool pick-me-up to come here and discover a new bug right under my nose. This is a view from the Sierra Llorona Lodge looking over the Caribbean. And that is a view of all the ships out there that are at anchor waiting their turn to go through the Panama Canal. And over here is the area where they all enter the canal. They go through 2 locks, I think, or maybe 3, to rise up the mountain. Then they enter what's called Gatun Lake. They go for a long distance across this huge lake. Then they have to do a couple locks downwards toward the Pacific. When Ailsa Donnelly immigrated to the United States in 1950, she rode a ship across the Atlantic and through the Panama Canal, and then up to California, where she had a cousin living in Los Angeles or someplace. And she really immigrated to America by going through the Panama Canal 62 years ago. Anyway, yesterday I went with Jorge down to the river, and we found some specimens of a new species of Argia, and I'm going to go back down there today again because Nick suggested one of the bugs I caught I should go and get more of. It's our last day here, so I need to be back by around 11 or so to clean up and get lunch at 12. So here we go. When I'm hiking by myself in forests like this, I have to be extra careful. You could slip on the mud easily going down these trails. Slip on a leaf if you fall and crack your head on a rock. Nobody's going to know where I am. They'd have to do a search party to find me. I brought a radio with me. We have 2-way radios. I brought one with me in case I find that I'm lost. And if they don't see me by lunchtime, I can, you know, kind of tell them I'm lost someplace. But as you're walking steeply down these hills, you're always grabbing onto supports. And there's 4 things that I always keep my eyes peeled for when I'm looking at the branch I'm about to brace myself on. Before I put my hand on it, I'm always looking quickly for 4 things. Snakes, spiders, ants, and thorns. I mean, sort of in that order. You're going very, very quickly from branch to branch as you lean. And here's an example of one you don't want to put your hand on. This palm tree here is just covered in rather vicious looking thorns. And this is a tangle you don't want to get into. Right here, you put your hand on that and you'll be really, really sorry. Or slip and fall right into it and have these thorns driven into your head, which has happened to me once years ago in Trinidad. I had all the thorns driven right up into my scalp, and that's no fun. So anyway, you walk carefully down the trail because you're by yourself, and if you get hurt, there's really no help for you. I'm not even breaking a sweat right now at 9 o'clock in the morning, but coming back up at 11, it'll be a different story. I'll be a mess by the time I get back to the house, so I need to leave myself enough time to shower, change into some dry clothes, and all that, so that when we get in the car after lunch, you know, you're just not a disgusting mess while you drive to Panama City. These are things you have to keep in mind when you travel from place to place. It's possible to go from location to location in an air-conditioned car, all dirty and covered in your own grime, but it's not the pleasant way to go. The weather's really nice this morning. And in the tropics, you don't count on that. Sky, I think, is almost cloudless. So if there's a day for making last-minute discoveries, this is it. Blue sky, blue sky, blue sky. Getting to the river is not that complicated. I just go downhill and listen for the water. What's going to be more important for me is to pay really close attention to where I enter the river so I can find the head of the trail back up when I get back. And after a while, all the bends in the stream look a lot alike. Almost slipped right there. And it could be a little bit tricky. You really have to keep your wits about you. It's a whole different story when you're with somebody else. When you're by yourself, you have to really stay on kind of red alert, and it makes you a little bit jumpy. You know, are those hornets I'm hearing? Is this tree covered with biting ants? Is that a snake? You know, you constantly have to, don't slip on the rocks in the stream. There's so many little things to keep in mind that you kind of are, it's fun, but you're a little more tense when you're totally by yourself. I keep forgetting about that till I do it again. This camera has the ability to brighten up the image if it's really dark, which is great when you're taking pictures of anything that's in the dark, or you're at a party and there isn't great light or whatever. But I point that out because the forest is a lot darker than it looks to you on the screen right now. And in fact, there are times where my eyes go a bit blurry and I have trouble focusing because it's really like looking into a dark closet without a light on. I have ants on me. It's not super dark, but it's dark enough to where you really have to kind of concentrate. Now I'm on a slope and I have to be real careful. I'm stepping sideways so that I don't step on a leaf that's on mud and go flying. Close to the river now, I can really hear it. That sunny area back there must be where the river is. This is a quick walk. I just have to get it right on the way back. There's a little creek there feeding into the bigger stream. Very careful, very slippery. Whee! I'm not afraid of slipping and falling and getting dirty. I'm afraid of slipping and falling and hurting myself, or breaking the camera, or injuring myself in a way that would make it hard for me to get back. Because you could scream all you want for help, nobody's going to hear you here. The forest swallows up all the noise. We're almost at the river, I can tell, because of the bright light and the sound. And I guess you got to go this way. Little frog there. I think it had tadpoles on its back. A lot of them do that. I'm looking for trail now, not so sure. Now that I'm close, the trail's kind of faded away on me. Yeah, this is the way we went yesterday. I recognized the big log with these mushrooms on it. It's also, I have to remind myself, it's really important to keep looking backwards so that you know your landmarks when you're coming back. It's one thing to follow a kind of a difficult trail through the woods. It's another when you get to spots like this where you can go in two directions. You've got to have the sense to look backwards and say, all right, when I get to this thing, I got to go that way. And furthermore, as the sun moves across the sky, the light and shadows change, and a lot of stuff you think you're using as landmarks goes away, because you say, oh, that bright tree in the sun, but it's not going to be in the sun when you come back. All right, I'm at the river. That was easy coming down. The trick will be finding a way to remember this exact spot when I want to come back. I'm in this spot specifically because yesterday with Jorge I caught one example of a big damselfly with red on the bases of the wings. And they're called heterainas. There's many different kinds. There were so many of them around that I had just assumed Nick would have caught some of these himself on this trip. He was down here the day before. So I caught one. And the rest of the day I'd catch them and check to see if they were the same thing, and they were the same thing, so I let all the others go. When I came back, Nick was like, but what if it's new? If it's a new species, you only caught one. And I thought, you know, we've seen a lot of these things, and Nick is like an unbelievable brain box for dragonflies. He knows everything, and he always knows, he always recognizes the species. You know, that's this one, that's this one. But you know, he's right. When we get back to the lab back home, they may be new. So I decided to hoist myself down here and collect some more. So this is kind of like my homework assignment. I'm going to be a hot, sweaty mess when I get back to camp for lunch, but this is why we came to Panama. We're here to discover new things, and so hopefully it's only 25 after 9. Hopefully by 10 o'clock this place will be jumping. And I'll get a bunch of good stuff. My job for the day. Biggest dragonfly or damselfly in the forest. Guess I showed you one before, captured in the room. They're really cool. They're just so huge. Can we see down in there without him getting out? There he is. About, I don't know, 8 inches across. Megaloprepus. Oh, just awfully cool. If it's a female, I'll let it go. Unfortunately for him, he's a male. I'd say unfortunately because if it was a female, Nick already gave me a female and I wouldn't need one, but he's a male. He's got male stuff. But look at the colors on him. They're really, really cool bugs. Got some black and white on them, and when they fly, they really earn the name helicopter. When you see them do this through the woods, you just see them going like that above you, and you barely can make out what you're seeing. And they're surprisingly difficult to catch. They can really get away from you. Anyway, so that's sort of a little fun surprise bug. Okay, well this was my homework assignment. This guy with the bright red, see the red on the base of the wings? They're called heterainas, and there's loads of species. Every one we've caught on this trip, Nick has recognized the species pretty much on sight. But he made a big face when I told him I saw a bunch of them and only caught one yesterday. So I came all the way back down here for this. And I will get more if I can. And it's not the worst homework assignment a guy could have. See that big morpho butterfly flying down there? Big blue, huge blue butterfly. Gorgeous. The fact is, discovering a new species of something like an insect or an orchid is mostly a matter of getting yourself to places other scientists haven't been. Catching a new species of dragonfly is pretty much the same as catching an old species of dragonfly. You find the habitat, you got to sneak up on them, you got to surprise them with the net, and you often don't know you've got a new species the day you catch it. So I don't think of it as a glorious pursuit. It's intellectually stimulating. It's kind of fun to know you found something new, but it's at least as much fun just to get out to places like this and just enjoy the pleasures of your surroundings.